And the fleets that we support, we've got some that started off as drivers, bought their first truck, and now have over 100 trucks. And so we've helped people make that move. The average is probably 3 to 4, and that's where most people plane out. It does come down to recruiting. One, most people, when you go to 2 to 3 trucks, it's family members, or it's people you go to church with, or it's people you grew up with, and they're in trucking as well. And so you kind of put together a game plan, and they operate almost as a small family. And that can be very profitable. When people try to move beyond that, you have to have a recruiting effort. And if you ever lose those close-knit relationships and now you have to just go out to the open market and compete with, just machines like J.B. Hunt and Swift, where they're just bringing people into driver schools and tying them up for 2, 3, 4 years in contracts, that can become very difficult in order to compete against. So we see people who have a great niche of driving on the road, and they do it simply to recruit in and out of truck stops, and they can do that. But you have to be very nimble on the recruiting side. And then on the asset side, again, what we a lot of times look, before people grow, we want to make sure they're upgrading properly. We see a lot of people they start out in used equipment, then they want to grow a fleet with used equipment, and they want to keep growing this fleet of used equipment, and costs continue to stack month over month over month. Mm-hmm. In most cases, people are actually better off running less trucks that have a bigger truck note because they're newer, but they have better uptime, they have lower R&M, and they have better retention. Because if you're competing with drivers in the open market, if it's your family, they may be okay driving in a seat that's tore up, or being in a bed that's not quite the same, or a truck that needs washed all the time, because they're connected to you personally. You go to the open market and you're not going to be able to recruit against people who are advertising custom trucks and putting a lot of money into that equipment. So a lot of times for most fleet owners, a step back, they kind of grow from 3, 5, 6, 7, and they step back to 3. And then they keep those 3 really well invested into, the equipment really nice, and they get a high efficiency. And normally they're as profitable or more profitable than people running 7, 8, 10 trucks because of the efficiencies they gain out of that truck and the stability within that company. I know that sounds odd, but it's you can run a truck every month and not make $1. And just so in trucking, we know most trucking companies have a 20, as far as an owner-operator, about 20% margin. After their revenue, 20, 25% margin is what they have. So over-the-road trucking, you're only pulling about 13 loads a month. So you lose 2 loads, you're working the rest of the month for a break-even. And so 2 loads could be 2 or 3 days in a shop once a month. It doesn't take a lot. And shop times have gone from being able to get you in and out in 24 hours to a 36-hour turn in little simple things. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to spend a lot of money in the shop. You just have to spend time. And next thing you know, you're working every month just to break even. And so keeping that equipment extremely well utilized, invested into, and not overgrowing your capacity to recruit is huge.